So if I just click execute workflow here and let it run, let's just see how it works. All right, so it looks like it appended something to the sheet. Boom, we have an icebreaker generated, another one, and another one coming in, and a shortened company name. All right, hey guys, it's Simon again, back with another automation video. Just wanted to show you this really cool, basically a cold email icebreaker generator. So if you don't know what a cold email icebreaker is, let me just show you really quick. So those of you who don't know how a cold email works, you're emailing to a bunch of people that have no idea who you are, generally speaking, and therefore the trust level is going to be low. They're just not going to want to interact with you unless they know there's some sort of personal gain for them. So in this case, or personal personalization, that's what an icebreaker is for. So icebreaker is like this short little message you send at the beginning of a cold email that just says like, hey, your name, I know your company, you've done X, Y, and Z, I really love your work. It's a way to show that, hey, this person has actually done research, they've actually looked into my company, and that means I'm a step closer to wanting to work with them because they know me a little bit more than a random stranger on the internet who's trying to scam me. After that, you copy your offer, which is copied from email to email. Even though this part's not personalized, the icebreaker kind of breaks the ice, which is the whole point of the name, and it makes things more personal and more unique for them, which makes them more likely to click. Now, what you could do, and in the past you kind of had to do this, was for however many leads you had, you would have to manually generate icebreakers. You might have a template and fill in different like words and phrases for each company, but you'd still have to look at every website, every profile for all this information, and it just takes so long. Especially if you have thousands of leads, it's just a no thank you. You can now, with n8n, with tools like n8n, you can get this done in a couple minutes basically. And that's what I want to show you today, is how to generate this part automatically. So honestly, I just wanted to give you a demo to start and show you exactly how this works. This is the workflow, and we have this leads sheet here. I'm using the example of HVAC in this video demo. And you can see there's names. These are all fake, by the way, generated by Claude. Fake email, but you have a headline title, the industry, company name, address, and there's a bio here, which I've wrapped it because it's kind of big. And what we're going to have filled in is a section called icebreaker, which is the output we want, and a shortened company name. So if I just click execute workflow here and let it run, let's just see how it works. All right, so it looks like it appended something to the sheet. Boom, we have an icebreaker generated, another one, and another one coming in, and a shortened company name. You can see, hey James, noticed Arctic Air handling a fair amount of installs and service calls in Tennessee. Also have some interest in HVAC. Wanted to run something by you. So you can see how each one is customized. Hey Maria, their company, this interest. It's essentially a customized icebreaker. And this one's pretty basic. There's not a ton of customization, but when you make this yourself, you can customize it to your preference exactly as you like. And that's why we're going to go into this build right now. All right, so this workflow is going to start with just a manual trigger. You can trigger this however you'd like, but you can do it on a schedule if you have like a setup where you do things weekly or whatever, but just a manual trigger for the point of this tutorial. Then we're going to connect a Google Sheets node, because we want to get the data from our sheet here, the leads sheet, right? And we're going to get rows in sheet. From here, we're going to grab the sheet we want to use, which in my case is lead sheet example, and then use the tab you want to use. That's pretty straightforward. And that's all you got to do with that. Now, the next thing you want to do is, because you have multiple items in this sheet, you don't want to just get one row back. We're going to have to do a loop over items node. And batch size 1, because we want to do one at a time. You can delete this little section here, it's not necessary. And the loop goes like this. The first thing we want to do is add an if node, and this is something I'm going to explain later. Right now, just add it in and add these properties. You're just going to take JSON.icebreaker is, and then you're going to say empty. And I'll explain why later, but this is a crucial part of the automation, so make sure you add it in now. The next thing we want to do is get an OpenAI node. You can also do this with an AI agent node or a Claude, any AI model you want to use, but I've been using OpenAI for this and it's been working fine. So I'm just going to have this one. And we're going to get message a model here. So we're going to do quite a lot of customization. This is probably the most interactive part of this whole tutorial. Once you have this done, it's extremely straightforward. So make sure you have a credential to connect with OpenAI. You're going to have to go into their developer portal, get an API key, and whatever that is. It's a very simple thing. You can ask AI to help you to do this, or you can just watch a short tutorial online. We're going to do text, message, and model. And from the model, we're going to choose 5.4 mini, since that's the cheapest and fastest one as far as I'm aware for OpenAI. So we're going to make this into a system, and we're just going to add a very basic, this is not really the important part. Oh, you are a helpful, intelligent writing assistant, because we're going to add more stuff below. So the first thing we're going to do is add a user prompt, which is also a text prompt. And we're just going to grab this. I'm actually going to show you guys a full screen version. This, you're going to have to just probably customize it because I'm not going to be reading through all this. I'll read through a bit of it actually. So you can just read. I'm going to slide here, over there. You can copy this as you'd like, have it take a picture of it, have AI write it for you. Your task is to take as input a bunch of information about a prospect and then generate a customized one-line email icebreaker to imply that the rest of my communique is personalized. So the customization you guys want to do is this section and this section. Everything else you can keep the same, but these two sections you're going to want to change depending on the industry you're making the icebreaker generator for. And that's one thing to note as well. You can't just use this with any company unless you really customize this very well. But the point is, when you get leads anyway, you're likely getting them batched by industries. So the way that I had this built was by industry. So in this case, this specific version, you can see how it says the template is essentially, hey, first name, notice shortened company name, handling a fair amount of installs and service calls in their state. Also have some interest in paraphrase industry. So you can see how that's geared towards service businesses like HVAC, engineering, plumbing, framing even. If you want to change this, just change those like installs and service calls, change the, that's just the main thing here, but in some cases it might be more. You can ask AI to do this for you. I've done that for all the different kinds of leads I've been generating with this. And then for this section, you also want to customize this. These are basically parts of a company name you don't want included. So for example, let's say you're working with Arctic Air Solutions. That is their relaxed name. That's their name that if you talk to their business owner, you're going to say Arctic Air or Arctic Air Solutions. Probably Arctic Air, right? So when you're making a cold email, you want to bridge that gap as soon as possible. You don't want to sound too formal and say, hey, I love your company, Arctic Air Solutions, HVAC. It's just going to come across as automated, which it is, but it's not going to be as personalized as we can make it. So here you're going to remove essentially all those potential end names, appendeds. I don't know how you would call it exactly, but you'd have those removed. And again, I just ask AI to customize this for your specific industry. In fact, I don't think solutions is included here, so I might just add solutions to this. Oh, it is here. Great. Perfect. That way, the email generator is going to automate as Arctic Air instead of Arctic Air Solutions HVAC, right? So those are the two things you need to customize. And that's basically it. That's the hardest part of this whole automation. Now, we want to do a couple more things. We want to make some examples so the AI has a sense of what kind of message to make. So the first one is going to be another user prompt, and you can just copy this one in directly from here. And then we're going to match that with another prompt here. I'm just going to grab this. This is going to be the assistant prompt. You can see, I'll just copy this in here. Oh, wrong button. You have this info, and you're telling the AI with this info, take this and customize it to look like this. So you can see n8n Rakotoel. Again, it was automatically generated. I don't know what this name is, Maki Agency. But you can see the AI's example is, hey, n8n, love what you're doing at Maki, also interested in outsourcing right now, wanted to run something by you. So we're going to do one more example. All you really need is two. So for this one, we're going to do that, and I have another one saved here. Assistant again. There you go. I'll give that open to you guys. But again, even if you don't have these, you can just ask AI to customize a message for you based on these rules, and then it will. So I would just be scrappy with this and fix things little by little. Like, part of the great thing about this specific automation is you can customize it in so many ways, and I just encourage you to play around. I actually got this first initial idea from a template, and I customized it to fix it to my liking. So you can do the same with this, essentially. Now, one more thing you want to do here is another user prompt, and you want to add in these fields, okay? So these fields, they're not in yet because they're going to come from the sheet, but these are all the fields that we're going to feed into the AI to make its decision making. So we're going to see this in action. But again, this is important, so just make sure to take a look at this and add them in as such. And the last thing we want to do is we want to make sure we take the output format and make that a JSON object. And again, that was the hardest part. You don't even have to add any tools to this. All we're going to do now is we're going to get another Google Sheet node, and we're going to click append or update row. And again, once you're in here, just connect your sheet you're using, the right sheet. Oh, wrong button there. There we go. And we don't want to map automatically. We're going to do manually, and we're going to select the email column because email is a unique identifier, and we'll get into that later as well. So let's just execute the previous nodes so we can get the data in here. Okay, so something I'm realizing, this is actually an updated version of the OpenAI node, which my other examples don't actually use. So I don't want to give you this. Instead, we're just going to keep one. So we're going to keep this one, and we're going to delete all these other ones and see if that does anything for us. These examples would be nice to have, but you don't really need them. So there we go. Now we're getting an actual output, and we're getting an email, but it won't be from here. It'll be from here. There you go. And now we can match the email properly. And you can see this will still come out nicely. The icebreaker will actually come out here. We'll see it. Hey James, notice Arctic Air handling a fair amount of installs in service calls to Tennessee. Also have some interest in HVAC. So it's still pretty solid even without those other examples there. But yeah, we want to make sure that the icebreaker gets appended to the new sheet and the shortened company name also. And then execute it. And this is what allows us to actually update the sheet. Great. This could be fine on its own, and we can just loop this back into the loop node and have that be done. The problem is with Google Sheets, if this is called a certain amount of times, the API kind of times out. So we want to make sure there's a wait node here to slow things down. So let's just do a 1 second. It's really all you need. The Google Sheets API overloads with way more than this. So 1 second is totally fine. Now we have a wait here, and we're going to loop it back. And yeah, let's just delete this and run it. And I'll get back to you guys when it's populated the whole sheet. Amazing. There we go. You can see everything's been populated just fine. Everything's been customized if you look over here. And again, you can completely customize how you want the messages to be. Just go back into this part of the prompt and edit this as much as you want for your own style, whatever you find works best for your needs. Now I want to show you guys why we added this if node, right? So this if node, essentially, as you can see, it checks if the icebreaker column is empty over here. So this is quite important because let's say we have this, right? And in fact, let me just show you. So we're using email to match the second sheet, right? We're using email to match this sheet here. So if there is no email, it's going to break. Now, I'm just going to let this slide through. I'm going to delete this and you're going to see that the automation is going to break. Okay. Or actually yeah, it should break. Let's watch. Oh, I actually didn't even build this properly. So make sure to drag this false back into the loop and let's see what happens this time. Here you go. So we run into this error. The column to match on parameter is required, and that just means that the email wasn't found here. If you didn't have this if node at all, you'd have to go, first of all, you'd fix this issue. You'd either delete Lisa or you'd find her email and add it back in. But what would happen if you didn't have this if node, which said only continue if the icebreaker is empty? That means it wouldn't be checking this and it'd be going over this whole thing over again. So you'd be starting from scratch. Your AI would be, you'd be calling the API over and over again and filling in a new icebreaker from the beginning of the whole sheet. We only have 20 here, so it's not a huge deal, but let's say you had 1,000 contacts. I've had situations where I was trying to make icebreakers for 1,000 leads, got like 200 in. There happened to be missing an email for one of them. And once I fixed the issue, then it started from scratch, the whole automation from scratch. And that can take, 10, 15 minutes. And I wasn't sure why that was happening. Well, it's because it didn't recognize that there's already icebreaker there and we don't need to rewrite them. So what this if node does is it just ensures, hey, if there's a icebreaker already existing, we're not going to rewrite for here. So as you can see, we've just re-added Lisa's email and the whole automation's broken. All we have to do is restart it and it's just going to continue as usual because it saw, okay, these are already filled. We don't need to work on these anymore. And that's exactly how this works. Yeah, that's basically it. It's a very quick little automation, but the value is extraordinarily high, especially when you get to thousands of leads or more, even hundreds. You don't want to be writing customized icebreakers for all of those. So yeah, I really hope this helps you guys. Be great if you can like and subscribe. If you want to work with me, see the link in the description. Go to my website and sign up for a call. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching.